All right, welcome back to another episode. I'm working on the Bronco today. You can see I've already installed this passenger side window assembly. So that's a new vent window, new glass, all the felt that goes in there, and what they call the anti-rattlers that sit down in here to keep the glass from rattling, and also the inside window guides. I'm going to do an assembly on the driver's side so you guys can kind of see how that goes. This is green tinted glass that the customer requested, and he found a manufacturer Midwest, somewhere back east, that cuts Bronco glass, and it has like a factory green style tint to it. So he had that shipped here. These windows are brand new from Tom's Off-Road, and they do come with clear, so I had to take them down to a local glass shop in town here in Medford. I use Bill's Glass. They've been around in business for like 35 years, and I've used them on my personal vehicles and other jobs that I've had. And they went and swapped these out for me and did a really good job on it. So I've got the driver's side one that I needed to get out of the box, put over there. I'm going to show you guys how to install some of the components onto the glass and assemble that driver's side, because there is a process to it. You can't jump ahead one to the other and try to get everything to fit in there. So there is a certain process to it. So I'll pan over to the other side. We'll get set up with the vent window and get that into place first. All right, so here is the driver's side vent window assembly. Like I said, these are brand new from Tom's. They are missing this felt that goes in here, but it's best to install it after you get the vent window in here, just so that it's easier to slide the glass in here and up into the track before you put this in here, because this does hang down on the bottom of it a little bit, and if you put that in there, then it's hard to get the glass to get started up in here, because it'll be wider than what it is. So wait to put that in. The first thing we want to do, actually before we put this in, is you want to get your main door glass down into the door. And there's the actual bottom window track that attaches to the bottom of the glass, and then it'll actually clip to the actual roller guide on the window regulator that cycles up and down. So I want to move over to where I'm going to set up and attach the actual bottom guide to the bottom of the window, and I'll show you how that's done as well. So you can see here I've got the driver's side glass, window glass. They did mark, the glass company marked top, so this tells you that this needs to go vertical at the top of your window frame opening, and it can be to the outside. You want to match it up to your opening of your jamb and make sure that you've got it correct, because these are cut at a slant to fit the actual window opening. And if you notice here, I've got some just regular automotive style glass cleaner that I've got from one of the glass shops. You can use Windex as well, which works great. You have the lower window track that the roller fits into here on the window regulator, and you also have a piece of rubber that will cradle the glass and then fit inside of this channel, and it'll come to you flat. And what I like to do is just break it in half. So you fold it over, not break it in half, but fold it in half, and get it to make a shape like that, because what you want to do is fold this over the glass. You want to fold it over the bottom of your glass, and you want to center your lower channel over the glass with your rubber, and then you'll force it down over the actual glass. Now, don't do this dry because you need to have some sort of lubrication, and that's where the Windex or glass cleaner comes in handy. And don't worry about, you know, using a little bit, use a lot, because the more the better. And this stuff can be cold if it's not summertime, which it's not summertime here. So it might take a little bit of warming up and folding over to get it to retain its U shape. And then, like I said, this says top over here, and it's going to face outside like this. And so I know that I want this window track here to face outside, to the outside of the door, so that it catches the roller on the window regulator that's facing the opposite direction. So if I know this is top, I'll flip it over, and I've got a rubber mat down here. And what I'll do is I'll soak this on the inside, and I'll soak it on the outside, and then you can also spray the inside of the channel. And then you just want to set your piece in here. Actually, you know what? Better yet, you'd want to set it over the glass and center it, because it's not going to fit the length of the glass. So center it so it's got an equal amount of reveal on either side. And then you're going to take your lower window track and center it so that there's the same amount of reveal here as there is down here. And then carefully on a rubber mat, you want to take a rubber mallet and just be gentle and push down force. And you just want to get it started. And you're not beating on it, you know, you're just applying some down force. Don't do that. And then you just want to look down there and make sure that it's seated against the rubber on both sides, which it is. So, as you can see, there's a faint yellow paint mark that says top. So I know that goes to the top. And pretend I'm the outside of the vehicle. This is going to be facing the outside of the vehicle, and you can see down here that this is facing in towards the roller that's facing, the roller faces this way towards the outside of the vehicle. So that's what you want to do on your finished product. To get the lower track on there. You will have a little bit of rubber hanging over, but that's fine. It'll be down inside the door. You won't even see it when you roll it up. I'll take some blue towel and wipe that off real quick. Like I said, you're not beating the crap out of it, and you want to have it pressed against something soft like a rubber mat. Don't use something hard to hit it against, like a 2x4 or something of that sort. And you're gonna get fingerprints all over it no matter what. You'll just have to come back and do it with glass cleaner again. But you just want to get the residual stuff off of there. So now I'm going to set back up over on the driver's side. We'll set this down in the door, and then I'll show you the next step. Okay, so if you look down in here, this is the window regulator that goes over to here. This is the arm. The roller faces to the outside of the vehicle. So we're gonna come get our glass. This still has a yellow paint pen mark on it that says top, and I've already test fit it to know that it goes like this. This is facing that way and the roller's facing this way. So you're going to carefully set it down into your door opening and take your time, especially on a newly painted vehicle. And you're going to set it all the way down in the bottom of there. You will know that down in the bottom there are these little window bump stops. You don't want to put those in until the very end because that'll keep you from lowering your glass down. And then the next step can be installing the vent window. Double check and make sure that these little tabs here that you actually mount to have threaded holes in them. In the past I had some from Tom's that didn't, and I physically had to run a tap down them and tap threads into them, which these have been threaded, which is good to see. And then you're just going to carefully set this in here at an angle like this and slowly work it into the corner. Like that. And what you're going to want to do is align all your screw holes up here. And I need a milk crate because I have to see the top one up here. And sometimes you need a flashlight. There is a bolt that secures the vent window in here, and you want to make sure that that hole is aligned as well too. Tom's Off-Road also does a really good job of supplying a stainless bolt kit for the door. So this will come with all the stainless hardware to attach your regulator, paddle handle, vent window, the stoppers, the guides, all that. It's a complete kit. And there should be 4 little, I think 832 or 1032 screws that you'll find in there. And that's what you'll use to attach in 4 spots on the vent window. Okay, sometimes to get the vent window into position, because this is all new rubber and this is a brand new door shell and window frame, upper frame, you might need to take a quick clamp and pull this direction to get the holes to kind of align. So I usually take like a little piece of blue tape and I'll set it up here on the edge right here. And then I'll just take a quick clamp, and you're just putting a little bit of pressure on it, not much. And sometimes using like a little pick to just like help align your holes make a world of difference. And I can get this bottom one fairly well, so I'll start one of these. Almost lost that one. So I got the bottom one started, but just leave it loose. And then try to go for the top one. And I've got the top one started. And then go for the middles. And just start these with a hand screwdriver. Don't try to use a impact driver or anything like that. All right. So now they're all started on there. I'm going to come back and I'm going to tighten up. Well, I'm going to wait. I just got that down a little bit farther, but I'm going to try drawing this forward a little bit more by tightening up these front three. And then I'll tighten up the top one at the very end. Okay. Release the clamp. Pull off your tape. Got a little goo on there. And now you have one long screw in your assortment of stainless hardware, and that should align in there. Which it does. And since it's stainless going into stainless in that, and it's not like a kind of a self-threading or self-tapping screw, I like to put a little anti-seize on it. So I'm going to put a little anti-seize and then set that into its position. Now we're at the point of installing this vent window felt guide, and what you want to do is drop this down in here. You'll see how this has like a notch in here. That is to accommodate for the lower window guide. So make sure that you have that facing the right direction. And you also want to make sure that you get your window started in this vent guide as well. And you're gonna have to get the glass started in the bottom here, and then you'll have to shimmy the glass in here to where it gives you enough room to actually get the glass started in here, and then you can just lay this back into position to the highest point that you can get it, which will be right at the top of your vent window chrome here. So let me do that, and then we'll go to the next step. Okay, so with a little bit of maneuvering, I got that up into place and snapped into the actual frame. The glass is started on this side, and I can pick this up and shift up the glass is what I want. But before I do that, we have another felt piece to put in, and that is this upper window felt. It goes in the frame here. And you'll have to play with this and massage it. You can kind of see that this makes a hard 90, and this really isn't made to a hard 90. So you'll have to put some pinching force on this corner and kind of bend it and get it to do what you want. You'll also notice that this has like a little extra spot here of material, and that gets tucked into this vent window frame. And these come long on this top section, so it's inevitable. I've done a bunch of these, and you'll always have to trim a little bit off of this end, maybe 1/8 to 3/16 of an inch. You'll have to trim off each end, and you can kind of just set them in place and see how much you trim off. I like to use, I've seen some people use side cutters like nippers that are to a point, but the problem with that is that it squishes the end of this little chrome that's on this felt. So what I like to do is actually take a zip wheel and a grinder, and I'll just nip a little bit off of either side and come up to just the top up here, and I'll leave this material across the top, the backbone, I guess you would call it. So just going to come up on both sides, and I'm going to start with taking off probably 3/16 of an inch. So let me go do that modification. We'll test it in here, and then we'll see how it fits. So I ended up taking off close to about 1/2 of an inch, which was more than that side. I think that side was about 3/8 of an inch off this end, but it fits up in there nice. And then you're just going to come back and you're going to snap it into place, and you're going to want to force this corner up and snap this side into place. And sometimes you have to take them out and kind of massage them a little bit, open them up so that they bite more when you snap them into place like that. So now at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the roller off of the regulator, because it's easier to slide the roller into the lower track. Come on, these clips. There we go. It's easier to slide this roller into the lower glass track and then push it onto the pin of the window regulator than fighting it with it on the end of the window regulator. So before I do that, let me grab some grease, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually lubricate the bottom of the window track. And you guys can use, some light duty clear grease, or you can use some Sil Glide. Sil Glide's a great product for lubricating window components. And so now the trick is going to be feeding this up nice and slowly. And I've got it to a point. Let me grab my brush. We're going to lubricate this bottom track. Then we're going to take our roller, slide it in here, and align it with the pin that's on the end of the window regulator. And snap it in like that. So now the window is held into place by the window regulator. And you can either do one of two things: use your door handles, or I take a pair of vice grips just gingerly to grab the teeth on the end of the window regulator, and I'll assist it in going up like that. So now we've got the vent window installed, we've got the glass and all the weather stripping, or felt, excuse me, for the upper assembly done. Before you put your lower bump stop, which is this guy, the window will stop on this, and it won't allow you to go down so far that it falls out of the track. Before you put those in, or your lower guides, what I suggest is to put in, these are called anti-rattlers, or window felt, another version of a window felt that goes here at the top of the door. And you can see on the ends of these there's some felt missing. Well, that's designed to go in and around the vent window here. They tuck in on either side of the vent window, and you'll have opposites. So you'll have one that's on the outside, one that's on the inside, and they both have felt that's removed. In some instances, I've had some situations where I've had to remove some more of this felt to get the anti-rattler to slide farther this way towards the vent window, because the vent window stainless is actually holding against this felt right here, and it doesn't allow you to align to the 4 holes that are in the top of this door housing for these clips on the back here. So I'll lower the window back down, and I will test fit these to see how they fit in here, and if I can get them far enough this way and aligned with the cutouts that are in the top of the door shell. So let me do that, and I'll show you the next step. All right, so I've lowered the window back down just far enough to where I can access these top 4 slots on both sides to clip the actual anti-rattler into it. I did test fit this one to the outside, and I found that some of this felt is hanging up against this and keeping me from actually getting this in and located properly. So the easiest way, because this felt is kind of adhesed to the rubber of this, is just take a grinder with a zip wheel and you're just gonna shave off a little bit, and you're just knocking the hair off down to the rubber, and that should allow this to slide forward more to the point where it doesn't interfere. And I like to try to get the forward, where's my flashlight? I like to try to get the forward hole clipped first, and then I kind of work my way to the back of the door here. Like that. Okay. So there's one of them, and I'll drag you over here. And you can kind of see that there's one of them. And then I'm going to fork the other one from this side. And I'm probably going to have to do the same. And shave some off of there. Yep, I'm going to have to shave some off of there. I took off just about 3/16 of an inch on that. And like I said, get the front one in. And then work your way back. There we go. You'll kind of hear it snap into place like that. So now both anti-rattlers are put into place. And we need to raise the window back up. And it's because the roller's not centered in that lower track, it's going to want to shift the glass, get all cattywampus. So you're just going to have to try to assist it in keeping it level as you roll it up. Okay. So that successfully takes care of all that. Everything's fitting nicely in there, and you can kind of massage it into place as need be. And now at this point, here's one lower guide. I'll have to go get the other one. But the lower guides basically attach back here. Not this one, but a different one will attach here. It accommodates the window as it goes down and keeps it from shifting. The other one slides in here and attaches to this hole here and this bottom hole here. But before you do that, there's actually two of these bent brackets. One is the window stopper, one is the bottom window guide. I guess you could say standoff would be the best term for it. And in the hardware kit will be a bolt, a washer, and a kind of a star lock ring. And you want to get it started, something like that. And of course you don't want it facing to the outside of the door. This goes against the inside of the door shell. This goes against the bottom of the inside of the door shell. And just make it finger tight so that you can adjust it. And then you'll slide it in here. You'll have another stainless bolt washer and star washer that you'll use for this top hole. Another one for the bottom. And you just want to, the top of that, remember how I showed you that this felt runner is going to lay into the lower window guide? You want to reach up in here and just make sure that that's what that's doing. And then you can kind of snug this up. And you can adjust these, you know, roll the window up and down a couple times, and you can adjust them as need be. Don't forget to go back in and tighten the one that was on that bracket, because I just made it finger tight. I'll grab the other outer lower window guide. I'll get that put in, and that goes above the latch. And then the last piece is the actual bump stop, which sits here and goes in this bottom lower hole. And there's no adjustment on it, there's just a hole, and you just tighten it up like that. That stops the window from going down so far. It basically stops it like almost right at the level of the felts here, the anti-rattlers. And that's pretty much the gist of assembling your glass and felt in an early Bronco door. My customer is sending this off to somebody that he knows to make nice new upholstered door cards, seats, and quarter panel inserts, and a headliner. So this is about as far as I'm going to take this. And at that point, you know, I have the door straps to put on. Those go attached here, attached to the inner A-pillars, and those just limit the door from swinging open and tagging the fender. So I'll probably put those on as well. If you guys have any questions, hit me up in the comments below. If you guys need any advice on anything, if you're assembling your Bronco, have some questions, I've restored a handful of these. I know the ins and outs of them, and I know there's always a different way to do things. That's just how I do assembly on my builds. And if you guys like what you see, like, subscribe, share, and I appreciate you guys watching, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Thank you.